In 3 hours' time, the green flag will drop at the Circuit de la Sarre for the world's greatest endurance race, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But first, you can warm yourselves up with the International GT3 Championship live from Zolder. 2 weeks ago, we were in Phillip Island in Australia, and Luis Paulo Gallen was your victor in that race. Today, we have two 30-minute races for your entertainment, slightly different format to last time out. Jack Stiles alongside Paul Smith with Hugo Luis on the cameras, and Paul, GT3 machinery at Zolder always gives us great excitement and great racing.
It always gives really close action, difficult track to overtake at as well, and this should produce some thrilling racing, maybe a little bit of drama as well.
And quickly, special comments from Will Vincent. Zolder is one of the circuits which always does throw up good racing, and it's very technical as well.
It is. Those high curves in the chicanes are the things that if you get them wrong, you're not only going to end up losing positions, damaging your car, slowdown penalties can be a big thing as well.
They can indeed. A couple of tight sections, we will bring those up during the race. Qualifying is coming to a close. Checkered flag has thrown. Drivers have got around 2 minutes to finish off their lap times. As it stands, Damien McPhee in the 722 car for Pure Racing Team holds the pole position, and he is currently your championship leader. Luis Paulo Gallen and Fawzan El Nabi were both handed penalties out of the first event for jumping the green flag, and Fawzan El Nabi will not be present for the rest of the season due to personal issues. So Damien McPhee, your championship leader, and currently pole position in qualifying. A couple of cars just finishing off their lap times as it stands. The number 46 machine is going to be crossing over the line, and then the 999 car of Carlos Dieguez for Follow Me Esports is going to be your final car crossing the line. Then we can go down to your RaceSpot starting grid. Damien McPhee takes pole with a 1 minute 25.174. John Piesnik is going to be alongside him. Hugo Prado and Kenny Roosen are going to make up row number 2. Ivan Marion and Uzi Del Pau are going to be row number 3. David Nowoski and Brad Watson, row number 4. Ricardo Ferreira and Carlos Dieguez, two Follow Me Esports teammates, are going to be rounding out your top 10. Paul, take us through the next 10.
Yeah, Luis Paulo is in 11th with Amaury Bonjour in 12th. And Anthony Winkelmann in 13th with Danny Davidson in 14th place. Clint Shane Smith 15th with Russ Rizzo in 16th. Adam Briggs, Jordan McDonald 17th and 18th. Reese Gokol and Philip Worley round out to the top 20. And Will, take us away with the next trudge.
We have got Wayne Book, 21st position, with Richard Avery, Club UK and Ireland, 22nd. Laurenston Rick in 23rd, with Joshua Skin then in the 24th position. 25th, Leonardo Marquez. 26th, Yao Oliveira, all Iberia row 13. David Roque in 27th. Luca Fioravanti in 28th. 29, and was Chris Hill. Cedric Bullen, 30. Back to you, Jack.
Japoko Chigoli in 31st, Guy Leach in 32nd, Paul Mansell 33rd, yes, Josh Nowak 34th, and John Roberts is going to be rounding out your 35 car field. Car's going to be taking down to the grid now for a full pace lap behind your rough pace car, and of course they have to survive that. Damien McPhee has to remember to stay on a constant speed until the green flag flies. Don't make the same mistake as Luis Paulo Gallen did. And Paulo Gallen, he did take your race win in round number 1, and he is down starting 11th today, Paul. He's going to want to get up some positions for race number 2. But of course, remembering that there is a 14-car reverse grid for that second race.
Yeah, it's a question of, do you play the tactics, drop yourself back a few positions, get yourself near the front of the grid for the second race? Or do you really go for it, try and get the win in the first race, or get as good a result in the first race, and then have to fight it once again in that second race? It's a tricky little thing to deal with there, and having experience of reverse grids, you'll see some people will play that game, will just sit in that reverse grid area to get a really good starting position for the second race.
Reverse grids always are a tricky one, and well, we don't see it in many series, but it is interesting to see, especially with GT3 cars, because at Zolder it's a tight and twisty circuit, and to make that reverse grid work for you, you have to get a good position in race number 1 to be able to up the front for race number 2.
Yeah, and what you've then got to try and do is make sure that you deal with the traffic well, regardless of where you are. We often see race number 2 being far more incident-filled, especially at a tight track like this. So track position, Jack, will be everything, and getting it right will be so important.
It will indeed. And of course, looking down the field, we did see some action on the first lap. The one that stands out for me was Jordan McDonnell ending up on his roof. He didn't even complete a lap. So getting through that first lap is important. The race isn't as long here. No pit stop needed as well to get to the end. So it is a 30-minute sprint. No strategy needed. Rough pace car is going to be setting off. Damien McPhee going to be holding the field. Everyone just wants to get those tyres up for temperature and get them going. You do not want cold tyres on that first corner, because that first corner is extremely tricky, Paul. Getting it wrong on the first lap, you do not want that, because you will cause a massive pile-up.
Well, I mean, the thing is, with this first corner, it's quite a wide entry to it, but there's only really one line through that first corner, and it is a tricky corner to identify where to get your line right. Then you've got to get the car right over to the other side of the track to get your right line for corner number 2, this tricky right-hander that leads into the second of the right-handers before you get that little short run down to the first of those chicanes. And I'll tell you now, from experience, and Will vouch for my experience of that second chicane, it's quite easy to get things wrong there, shall we say, Will?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing about that second chicane. It really does come down. You're a little bit downhill, got to be on the brakes, but what we often see is one driver just trying to force a car down there that isn't going to fit. But what that does, they're not going to say make the pass, but what it does, Jack, is it kind of means that people start getting nervous. When people start getting nervous on track, that's when we start seeing the incident. So basically, at that second chicane, be wary of the cars behind you, but focus on what you have in front.
Yeah, you don't want to be focusing behind you usually, because that means that you take your eye off the ball. And if you do lose a little bit of concentration, especially at a circuit like this, Zolder, it is interesting to watch. You can cause an incident. One other thing that is to be pointed out, obviously your car choice is locked in for the season from the first round that you participate. You are allowed one car change. John Piesnick has already used his one car change. He has changed from the BMW to the McLaren. He is lining up on the front row alongside Damien McPhee. They are now rounding out turn number 7, that second chicane that you just mentioned, down into the hairpin, and it is not long until we go racing. Damien McPhee is going to have to hold up the field through the Jackie Ixboth, that final chicane, before we can go racing.
Yeah, really difficult. You've got to time it right for when you release your car and when you release the field. That pace car will drop into the pit lane before that the final chicane there, so it's that race leader who'll be in charge of the field when they go around that final one, and then wait for that green flag.
Indeed so. Coming up to the final moment, the rough pace car will dive to the right, down onto pit lane. Shouldn't be used in normal circumstances. We will probably get unscheduled stops for damage at some point. Damien McPhee now in control of your 35 car field. He's going to stay nice and steady, sticking to 90 kilometers an hour, around 56 miles an hour. As green flag flies, we are racing for race number 1 here at Zolder. John Piesnick got a good start, but from behind, the 333 of Kenny Roosen going to try and make it go 3 wide. In fact, 3 wide into turn number 1. There is contact behind. Kenny Roosen gets spun around. Damien McPhee involved as well. There was a third SRT. Yes, that's what we were talking about, Paul. You didn't want to make that. Everyone else looking like they're nice and cleanly through. A couple of cars off wide. Damien McPhee is going once again. He's off at the back. Kenny Roosen, though, he has got away nice and cleanly through that incident. He is currently your leader.
Yeah, what an absolute nightmare there for McPhee from pole position, but you're on the outside line into that first corner, and well, a little bit of contact because they went 3 wide and around they go, but they're all still sorting themselves out. They're going 2 wide further back into this first chicane now, but everyone just sorting themselves out, trying to get into a rhythm here. You want to get in the rhythm early around here, because if you get in that rhythm, it means that you're going to be in flow with the track, and it's so important to keep a flow around here, Jack, to get the lap times to be able to pull away from your competitors.
We have had more incidents as well on that opening lap. Laurent de Rijk took a trip into the barrows at turn number 2, and then an incident between Luca Fiovarati and the BMW of Rhys Guicourt, second place in your championship as it stands. There was a Follow Me Esports car as well around by the looks of it, so everyone not having a good couple of corners. You do need to be careful, of course. We are now going to be finishing that first lap with Kenny Roosen still heading your field out of the final chicane to finish off that first lap, and all is going. Everyone just needs to now settle down into a pace. It's going to be around a 22 lap race today, and currently pole position for race number 2 as it stands in 14th position is your driver of Adam Briggs, the number 72 machine. As Clint Shane Smith, in fact, those two are in a battle. Everyone now just trying to settle down. Battle for the lead currently going on is between the two SRT teammates of Kenny Rooson and Uzi DePau. But Hugo Preto, he is the driver you need to watch out from behind because he is incredibly fast. We have had a spinner, number 88 machine of Watson, at that final corner. He has not had. Just go and have a look at what happened. It might have happened on his own. We're not sure. He was running in quite a big, but yes, it was on his own.
Yeah, so what happened with him? He just came out of the final corner, and we're going to see this at Le Mans later on, Paul. We're going to see it all weekend, also in the Irish World Championship Grand Prix Series. You get all four wheels off the track, you then try to come back on, as you're putting the power down, get onto that white line, car spins around, off you go, see you later. That Monster Energy Audi car, well, game over.
Yeah, that's it. You go head first into that pit wall there. Going to cause major damage. You're going to have to take a tour back to the pits. We've already got 4 people hanging around in the pit boxes to get in repairs to damage. So that's just telling you how really it's a race of attrition around here and a race of mistakes. Kenny Rooson at the front, he's doing all right. He's just slowly just trying to eke out that gap over his teammate, 7/10 of a second. But then those two have slightly broken away, actually. Hugo Preto's about a second behind, and then they've got a couple of cars battling out for 4th place as well. Carlos Dieguez and Emery Bunjul.
It also looks as though Philip Worley has had a couple of issues at the first chicane, taking a little bit of a funny line through there, hitting both curbs quite hard in the Sochertog curb. I would be very surprised if he doesn't have damage on that Mercedes. The number 23 machine has now cycled through. He is running down in 28th position. John Roberts having a spin as well out of the final corner. They're clearly not liking that one, but yes, battle for your lead. The two teammates, the 333 and the 331. That has calmed down. Then the two teammates behind, Hugo Preto, Carlos Diego. So it's SRT 1-2, Follow Me Esports 3 and 4. But of course, SRT Esports have got the opportunity to get a 1-2-3 pull. If Amory Bonduel can pull off a good performance like he did at Phillip Island, get himself up onto the podium.
Yeah, I mean, he's putting the pressure on here so far for that 4th place. As I say, he's got Carlos right in his sights here. But we saw this last year in the GT World Championship.
Sorry, Paul, Luis Palagallon has just had an incident. He's making his way up the grid. He started 11th, currently in 8th. He's had an incident with the driver of Ricardo Ferreira, another Follow Me Esports driver. Luis Palagallon has been almost put on his roof. He is going again, but that's not what he wanted.
That was a bit of an ambitious dive there. He went to the inside. A little bit of a late defensive move as well from the man that he was racing there. I'm not sure I like that moving across on somebody when they've already made the move there, but that's dropped him down there, down to 17th for Gallon. And I was about to say how difficult it is to overtake around here. We've got Chris Hill around at the final chicane as well. All sorts of drama going on in this one, but yeah. We saw last year in the World Championship how difficult it is to overtake around here, and once again we're seeing it in these GT3 cars of what it's like here.
There was a car actually head down onto the lane behind Chris Hill. That was the SRT driver of Luca Fioverati. He was caught up in an incident earlier on in the race. I actually don't know whether there might have been a little bit of contact between them. I don't think there was, but Fioverati is down onto the lane to get some damage repair done. He is back out and running. Chris Hill is also down onto the lane. He has called it a day by the looks of it in the number 115 for the first race. Currently back up to the front of your pack. Connie Rooson has broken away just slightly from his teammate DePau, but DePau has been left now in the clutches of the number 77 machine of Hugo Preto, and Hugo Preto is always a fast driver that we have to watch. We see him in the VRS GT iRacing World Championship, and he is always fast, Paul, and he is showing that once again in this series.
Yeah, and you're doing a good job of it as well. Really showing his pace here, and look at Preto, 3rd place. He's gaining on 2nd place here, so he dropped back a little bit to about a second behind the leaders, but he's just pulled them in slightly in his last 2 laps here, so he's going to put the pressure on here on DePau and make sure that he try and breaks up that bit of a team run at the front of the field.
Indeed so. A little bit of a battle for position number 7 as it stands. Anthony Wickerman, Ricardo Ferreira and David Nowosowski in the Triton Racing number 86 machine. Ross Rizzo grounds out your top 10. He's a little bit further behind. And then, obviously, David Nowalski, he is a quick driver. He needs to get his way up at the front, try and get as many points as possible. Ricardo Ferreira looked like he was trying to get for a move down onto the second chicane wheel, or first chicane on Anthony Winkelmann. Winkelmann just managing to hold off in that BMW for now.
Yeah, he is. And Winkelmann, actually, I have to say, in that number 96 machine is being under a ton of pressure. We've got car turnaround as well. That is Wayne Bork, number 89 machine, down at the chicane. He just looks as though he's had himself a single car incident, as I'm sure Hugo is going to put the replay up any moment now, into that first chicane, just outbrakes himself, touches the curb, and then he touches the second curb. Consequence of that, Jack, it was him just spinning around and into the kitty litter.
Not what you want to do at this stage of the race. Damien McPhee, though, is on a charge. He has currently got the fastest lap of the race, down in position number 13. He's got Adam Briggs ahead of him in the number 72 Mercedes. He has set a lap time of a 1 minute 25.828. Not the only person in the 125s, but he's only one of about 2 or 3 drivers, and he is setting the pace at the moment. He wants to get himself up towards the front of this field, but at the moment, if he can sit around here, Paul, he's got a good position for race 2 in that reverse grid.
Well, this is it. You've got to ask the question now, because he was on pole position, don't forget. Does he carry on pushing forward, get as many points as possible, or do you just sit there, try and get the good position for the reverse grid, and then really go for it in that second race? Well, one car has made the decision for him. Adam Briggs has said, do you know what? You have the position. You go forward. I'm happy staying in 13th, because that's front row for the second race. So, interested to see how tactics work here for someone like McPhee. If I was him and you know that you've got the pace over pretty much everybody on the field, you go for it. You go as hard, as fast as you can, get as many positions as you want, because then, in that second race, you know you can do it, and you've had the practices for moving through the field.
Damien McPhee moving up to 12th position then, eyes forward to Jordan McDonnell in the OPR Audi, the number 9 machine. He didn't have a good race at Phillip Island, didn't even make it to the end of the first lap. Doing slightly better here. He's managed to finish almost 6 laps now at Zolder, and of course another race coming your way after this one. And running in 14th position at the moment, Clint Shane Smith, he's on his own. Cedric Bullen, though, he is your biggest mover and shaker so far, up 15 positions. So he's looking to get himself into 14th position and pole position for race number 2, the Simitok eSport driver in the BMW, making his way up the field there, Will, and just putting on a nice, clean race.
He is, and that's what a number of drivers, I think, are trying to do, Jack, because of the fact they know there's a reverse grid here. They want to make sure they can get points, especially in this mid-pack, in both of them, and get a good, consistent finish. And I'm actually having a look through here. There's lots of little scraps going on in that mid-pack. We've got one going on P11, P number 12 right now, the 722 and the 9 car. But behind, notice the fact that from P number 14 all the way down to P number 17, they are in one gaggle. So one wrong mistake, Jack, ain't going to cost you one position, it'll cost you 4 or 5.
Reminds me of the Truly train back in Formula 1 in sort of the late 2000s. Yep. And Damien McPhee has also managed to get himself past Jordan McDonnell for position number 11. Ross Rizzo going to be sitting in P number 10. We have got a 4-car train for P number 7 as it stands. Anthony Winkelmann still heading that train. That hasn't actually changed direction at all so far, but I have a feeling that Damien McPhee will come in and upset that one in a couple of laps' time, Paul. And for him, I think his strategy is most points as possible. But if he's proven to move himself up the field like he is so far in this race, no doubt he can do it again in race 2.
Yeah, I'm sure I made that point a couple of minutes ago, but no, I'm only kidding you. Yeah, he's got a bit of clear air now. Let's see what lap times he can do, because we saw what lap times he could do in traffic. Give him a bit of clear air now. He's got 2 seconds in front of him to that next gaggle, and we'll see what he can do and how quickly he can catch up to that battle for that 7th place. And as you say, they're not really switching positions. They're all holding station at the moment. It is really difficult. I'm going to keep on mentioning this all the way through the broadcast today, ladies and gentlemen. It is very difficult to overtake here. We've seen how much contact has been happening in this race so far. Oh, Winkelmann jumping right over that second part of the chicane. Really taking a lot of curb, and if he's not careful, he will damage that car as Clint Shane Smith is round.
And of course, a battle for second position currently going on as well. Hugo Prado, Ulysses Dupau. I'm keeping an eye on that one. Hugo Prado not close enough to challenge. but Smith looking like he is having issues there in the number 67 BMW. Anthony Winkelmann, though, he's getting pressure now from behind in the number 13 machine of Ricardo Ferreira. Ricardo has closed the gap just slightly, now looking like he is able to put a little bit more pressure onto that 96 BMW into the final chicane for the 8th time now. Not close enough to make a move, and it just shows how hard it is to pass at Zolder. Some circuits we see it's easy to pass, you just use that straight line speed. We saw it last night in the iRacing Le Mans series at Nürburgring. You could just sit in the draft and make a move into the corner. Zolder, you don't have that position because you do not have the long straights. It's a very technical circuit. Getting past, you have to make your moves right and do it in a place where you're going to get contact pull. And if you get that contact, it could be disastrous for both of you and not just the person who you're trying to overtake.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's so easy to make a mistake around here as well. It's a track that's really strong with the BMW, and certainly these BMWs are showing good round here because they've got a little bit of less top speed in them, but they're able to corner a lot faster.
Yeah, I've got a couple of updates, by the way. I'm just going to say, we've got ourselves, we talked about Smith. He had an incident actually locking up under braking. Josh Nowak in the number 73 car. Now, this is coming into one of the chicanes, what I have to call the most vibrant car in the field here today. It's pink, it's blue, it's green, it's white, it's everything. But he just caught the kind of low curves into the chicane. And one of the things there, Jack, is if you hesitate into a corner, because of the way the chicane is so unforgiving, you are going to have a spin. That's exactly what happened to Nowak.
Indeed, so you have to attack these chicanes, but you have to do it in a right way. And also, Josh's livery reminds me of the BMW art car from Le Mans in 2011. Very remnants of that machine. Obviously, it's a shame we don't see something like that. Of course, we do have the pig car, the number 92 Porsche. That looks incredible.
Bacon.
Yeah, bacon indeed. And hopefully, and we will see whether it will bring home the bacon in just over 24 hours time. But Josh Nowak, he is continuing on down in 24th position. He is up 10 positions though where he started. So all in all, he has gained, but he's gained off other people's misfortune. Richard Avery did not take the start, and Kenny Rooson, haven't talked about him much so far, Paul. He continues to lead.
Yeah, certainly does. Almost a 2-second gap now between him and his second place teammate. But his teammate under pressure, but not really being pressured too much by Hugo Preto at the moment is DePaul. But another man, of course, recovering was David McPhee. He's made it up enough a position into 10th place. He made the move down into turn number 2 in that earlier in this lap. So he's moving through that field. He's got the Kia cars in front of him now for that battle for 7th place. It's a 3-car train at the moment between them, but McPhee is going to be on the back of this in no time.
Adam Briggs getting his way past Jordan McDonald for position number 11 as well. Jordan McDonald going to go look down to the inside, try and get the position back. He's obviously not happy to lose out on position number 11, although if I was him, he would stay there because he's then got a better position for race number 2, but obviously he wants to take as many points away from this event as possible. Going back to that train that you were just talking about, looking up to the front of it, looks as though Ricardo Ferreira is still trying to get his way past Anthony Winkelmann. Winkelmann, though, defending like a trooper.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job in that. BMW runs a bit wide into the gravel there, compromises his line into turn 2 there. So Ferreira taking the more natural line through there, carrying a bit more speed through the second part of this right-hander, and certainly really putting the pressure on now as Ferreira. He's desperate to get past.
Will, we've got time to shine.
Yeah, we've got an update in terms of the number 21 machine, or the where's Paolo Gallon. He decided to play ping pong, or actually be played ping pong even, with the number 28 car. That is Leonardo Marquez, who just rams into the rear of him, coming down into the most difficult corner name, I think, in all the motorsports. It is Bolger Harsfeld Box, turn number 8, for those of you who don't want to call it normally. And the number 89 machine got a little bit of contact as a consequence of that one as well. That is Wayne Bork in the number 89 car. Both of them have dropped back as a consequence of that, but the number 28 gets away without any real consequence.
Indeed, so he is out and running. Luis Palagallon is still down on the lane. I have a feeling he's either going to get that repair and just try and run around at the back, or he is going to call it a day for this event. Kenny Richardson still out in the lead, but that battle for second position still going on. Lucy DePau being able to defend off Hugo Preto as it is. Carlos Dieguez, Hugo Preto's teammate, is not going to be able to close the gap as much. Amory de Bonduel, though, has dropped off the back in position number 5. Even Marion is currently sitting in P number 6. Anthony Winkelmann in that position. A battle for P number 7 and 8 still going on. Ricardo Ferreira cannot make his way round. Of course, passing is extremely difficult here. Damien McPhee, though, I think is going to show them. He's currently in P10. Caught up to the back of this train pool. I have a feeling he's going to make it look like he's eating chocolate. As easy as that.
You say that, but the more that you... Oh, well, actually, as I say that, the Nowakowski goes off there. But, it's in fact, Ferreira's looking to the inside of that chicane, but... You've got to remember, the more that you move up through this field in this first race, you're in those quicker drivers, the drivers that were closer to you in qualifying, so it's going to get more and more difficult to make those moves as you get further up the field. So maybe get one, perhaps 2 spots here, but after that I really don't think it'll gain much more. Maybe challenge Marion towards the end of the race.
Indeed so. Damien McPhee then moving himself up to 9th. David Nowakowski having a bit of an issue at turn number 4, running out into the gravel. So McPhee eyes forward once again, hasn't got any pressure from behind. Ross Rizzo is now going to be able to challenge that number 86 Triton racing machine, although I don't think he's close enough to be able to do it. Adam Briggs has once again closed or extended the gap between himself and Jordan McDonald, so hasn't got the pressure from behind him. Kenny Roosen still leading your pack. From what I can see, there is a battle for P number 16 as well. Let's give the guys in the mid-pack a little bit of love. Guy Leach currently Wayne Bork has managed to get himself past Reese Gookhill. Wayne Bork now eyes forward, going to look to get him past that number 46 Valentino Rossi machine of Guy Leach.
Liz really putting the pressure on, looking to the inside, down the inside of turn number 1. It compromises your line through the exit there. That allows the cutback to happen, but it's a right-hander is the next one. Oh, and they're still battling behind as well. But keeping themselves safe, not tripping over each other too much, and that's Bork up into 16th place.
Bork up into 16th place indeed. 2 more positions for him, and he will be pole position for race number 2, although he has quite a lot of work. The gap between himself and 15th position is 5 seconds, and 14th position is 7.5, so I don't think he's going to be able to do such a thing. He has got some damage on that number 89 machine as well, I believe. Rear right damage, obviously due to contact somewhere. He also, the Cinchi Sim Racing machine also did take a lot of curb through that first chicane there, Will. You don't want to be doing that too often, because if you do, you're going to get a lot of damage on that car.
Yeah, there's 2 issues when you jump over the chicane down at the clean chicane turn number 5. You either A, get a slowdown penalty, which will cost you a little bit less than what it would have done at the start of the motor race. But you're right, the underside of the car and these GT3 machines, you just tear them apart. And a lot of them, they can take a lot on front or rear impact. The sides are not good, the underside is not good. I want to make one more point about the number 46 car, by the way. How great would it be to see Valentino Rossi, once he's hung up his motorcycle helmet, go and race at Le Mans?
I believe it could be done. Obviously, Marc Marquez was testing a Formula 1 car not too long ago, and we have seen it happen before. A lot of Formula 1 drivers are going to be debuting in the Le Mans 24 Hours in not too long. Jenson Button, one of them, and of course Fernando Alonso going to be lining up on pole. But actually, you know what, Will? I'm going to put a little bit of a... And Paul, again, I want your predictions, actually. We're going to do a bit of a Le Mans predictions as Damien McPhee is having a bit of a battle with Ricardo Ferreira. I'm going to put my money on a privateer LP1 taking the win.
You know how I'd love to win? Montoya, because it'll completely blow all of Alonso's plans out of the water. Now, we've got to remember as well that Montoya has won the 24 Hours of Daytona. He's got a car going off, by the way. That is Wayne Bork. He's gone off down at the first chicane. If Montoya wins this, he's not only won the Treble Crown, he's won the Treble Crown plus the Daytona 24 Hours, which I believe Graham Hill never did. But I think the safe money is going to be, they're going to do everything in their power to get Alonso to win that. The reason why I say that, Paul, Toyota were once a part of IndyCar. I think they're one of the teams that IndyCar's been talking to about coming back into IndyCar.
Certainly could be interesting to see how that one pans out. And to be honest, if Fernando did win Le Mans this year, it would mean that he could focus all his efforts on IndyCar and to put an effort in for the Indy 500 next year as well. So
I don't think next year though, because he's got Rubens Barrichello's most Grand Prix ever record in sight, but he has to run next year to do that.
Looking at an interview with him this past weekend, he doesn't seem that motivated to get that one as Boland's round. Cedric Boland is round the 277. and that's at the start of the lap there. So he's dropping down to 15th now, so he's just lost a potential pole position in the second race here.
And inheriting that pole position is going to be Leonardo Marx, and Cedric Bolland is now under attack from Guy Leach, but Guy Leach is under attack from Reese Gukul. Gukul down to the inside into the chicane. Guy Leach has no option other than to let Reese take the position. Reese is not having a good first race here. He's currently second in the standings, championship standings, and he's currently down in 16th position, I believe. According to my timers grid, he indeed so. So Guy Leach down into 17th now, but currently sitting in 14th position. Pole position for race number 2 is actually Jordan McDonnell, the number 9 Audi. That could be an interesting start to race number 2. But also, Damien McPhee hasn't been able to make his way through. Go on, Paul.
I want to draw your attention to second place. Hugo Preto is in second place. Carlos Dieguez is in third, and De Paul is down to 4th place. And look who's catching up behind her as well, Bondell. So it's all coming together here at the front of your field. Your leader's checked out, he's 4 seconds ahead, but then you've got this huge battle for second place as there's a car off in the gravel behind. That was Ferreira losing a position to McPhee. It's all coming to head in these last 10 minutes now.
There was indeed contact between Usu Depau and Hugo Preto. Hugo Preto went down to the inside into the hairpin, turn number 8. The name I'm not even going to bother even pronouncing.
Bonderberg's Halfspelt.
That's the one. There's a little bit of contact between the two. They were both put off wide. That let Carlos Dieguez take P number 3 and Hugo Preto went to P number 2. The SRT driver is not going to be happy in the 331 machine as they come into the same hairpin again. He is now under pressure from teammates. So SRT versus SRT. Surely, Paul, teammates have to be sensible.
You say that, but you're all fighting for a championship. You know, things will happen in the heat of battle, that's for sure. I've had run-ins with teammates in the past myself, so you just brush it off. You know, racing drivers have got an ego, so they all want to be the best, and that's what they're doing. But it's certainly going to be good to see this battle between the two SRT drivers as they're heading in through turn number 1 at the moment. And Will, you know, you've talked about so many battles between teammates, and we've seen some absolute disasters with teammates getting involved as well, haven't we?
We have, not only here in GT, we've had it all the way up in terms of the World Championship Series, with NASCAR, in terms of Formula 1, in terms of GT racing over the years. And it's one of these things that Martin Cronky, Hugo Louise once had a crash, I think, at Sebring at turn number 1. Now, Hugo's going to turn off the feed because I said that. But it's one of these things, when teammates come together, we've seen it actually destroy teams over the years. Bavana had a number of issues as a consequence of that a couple of years ago with teammates coming together. We see it in Formula 1. Force India at the moment basically have magnets, opposing magnets on each of their cars because they seem to crash all the time right now. But one of the biggest things about being a teammate, Jack, it's all about keeping the trust.
You have to trust your teammates, and sometimes if I mean, my teammates, myself, I do trust quite a lot. They're all good guys. We all race very clean, or even if we're mucking about, we still race nice and clean. And in fact, actually, Hugo Luis is going to correct you there, Will. It was Watkins Glen.
Well, yeah, okay. I'm about to message him as well. There was a near miss at Sebring, and that near miss actually cost, I think, either Hugo or Martin a shot at the victory, but the crash actually was at Watkins Glen. He's right.
That is indeed. Damien McPhee has moved himself up into position number 8. He is now putting the pressure onto Anthony Winkleman for position number 7, and behind a battle for position number 9 between Ricardo Ferreira and David Norowski. This battle is now a 4-car train for P number 7. If I look at my timing screens, a nice big red box, but we also have a 4-car train for position number 2 now, Paul, and it looks as though you have 2 Follow Me Esports, 2 SRT drivers, and of course SRT are currently leading the race. If SRT could get a 1-2-3, that would be impressive, but they have to clear two teammates to be able to do that. And
that's the thing, they did have the second place earlier on until that instant down at the hairpin with Preto, but I tell you what, they're still not out of this one because Dieguez has been flashing his headlights, which of course we all know is the iRacing code of you must now move over, and give over that position. But he's not close enough to second place to make that one as Carlos, so flash your headlights all you want, you're not getting it at the moment. But I think these 4 cars now, I think they're pretty much going to be set for the rest of this race unless one of them makes a mistake. McPhee, however, weaving down the straight. almost looked like he was trying to get a bit of tyre temperature in the car, into the tyres. I don't know why you'd want to do that so far into the race. We're into the final 4 minutes of this race already.
We are indeed. That went by in a flash. Jacopo, I can't pronounce that name, is past Clint Shane Smith for 21st position. So Clint Shane Smith, league admin for the series, is going to go down to 22nd position. Battle for position number 15. Cedric Bullen, Reese Guckel, two BMWs are going to go against each other. And well, Paul, you would probably say that the BMW is the best GT3, but I would beg to differ. And of course, these two drivers, they're going to be going same car. But one thing I am going to very quickly mention, and I'm very sorry for mentioning it, the balance of performance is very good in this GT3 series now.
Let's just say balance of performance conversation is not one that people appreciate from myself or from Randy. You know, it's a lot more even now as a balanced performance. I think that they've pretty much got it as near as you should get it, because certain cars should have advantages at some tracks, as McPhee is now looking to the inside for 7th place. He's run deep in the hairpin, and the cutback works for Winkelmann, but McPhee's not going to give this one up yet for 7th place. But the other reason I say that the BMW is the best to drive is because it's the easiest to drive, because I'm a talentless hack, and that's why I'm on the commentary, Mike.
Well, that's the same reason why when we went to Autosport, the only things I would drive was the BMW and the Audi, because any other car I tried to drive would basically throw me into the corner, Graham Hill bend at Brands Hatch, and put me into the kitty litter. One thing is worth talking about here, that there's a lot of battles going on in this P6, 7, 8, 9 battle right now, Jack, and they are scrapping for it, but they've got to remember that if they do go off, they have a chance of falling outside the top 15. That top 15 itself is separated by 7/10 of a second, and having a look at the previous lap times, Google then is right there with Cedric Bollon for P number 15, and we'll talk about hard and difficult names to pronounce halflings. Let's see them all.
Sorry, Will. Anthony Winkelmann's just had a bit of an issue in the first chicane. The second part is contact with Ricardo Ferreira. I don't think Winkelmann saw him on the inside. Winkelmann is hard into the barriers. The 96 machine is out. David McPhee up to 7th position. Ricardo Ferreira up to 8th, but I don't think Winkelmann saw him there. That was a chain of events you didn't want to see there, Paul.
I tell you what, I think he may have seen him and thought, I'm trying to cut off that gap, but he was too late in making that move. I think that's on Winkelmann, that one, I'm afraid, and it was all his own making. Is that one into the barriers? He rolls several times, he's back up and running, but he's dropped it. He's still in 12th place, and with a minute to go in this one, he might amazingly end up being in a better position for the start of the second race.
He has indeed. That's played into his hands quite well. He's currently down in position number 12, so that will be row number 2. White flag has flown. Kenny Rooten has gone on to his final lap. Well, Will, we haven't really talked about him much today. He's just had a quiet race up at the front and dominating in that 333.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do. If you're going to lead a race, you want to lead it with as few issues as possible. But Jack, one thing that is worth talking about coming onto this final lap is the battle for P number 2. Hugo Preto is in 2nd place. You got Carlos Dieguez in 3rd place, but it looks as though that Dieguez is closing, but I don't think he'll have enough to go into the Fleet TV bridge.
I don't think he will, and looking as he comes into that second chicane, Paul, the gap isn't close enough. He needs to be right on the tailpipe of Hugo Preto to even make a move into the turn 8 chicane, and I just don't think that's possible.
Yeah, it's not going to happen for him here today, and it's certainly going to cost him. And well, the leader's coming up to lap one of his teammates. That's what sort of day it's been for Ferrenti, but the leader into that final chicane now.
Indeed so. Kenny Rooten rounding that final corner. He is going to come out nice and easy. Race 1 for him. 30 minutes in the bag, weaving down the main straight, crosses the line and wins race 1 here at Zolder. 2nd place is going to go to Hugo Preto. Carlos Dieguez not close enough, so we'll follow me esports 2 and 3. SLT is going to finish in 4th in the form of Lucy Dupau and 5th in the form of Anne-Marie Bonduelle. So we've got top 5 formed of 2 teams. Everyone else just going to finish themselves off. Battle for P number 17. I don't think that's going to be close enough to have any difference, because Guy Leach in fact has broken away, but Cedric Bullen, by the looks of it, has had a bit of an issue. He is further down and running quite slowly by the looks of it. That could be fuel actually there, Paul.
Could well be. This battle for 17th actually isn't over here. Mansell and Van Broek trying to put the pressure on. Van Broek in that boosted car. The two drivers in front though in those Valentino Rossi inspired colours. Across the line they go then. So it's going to be Burke and then Leach, Mansell and Van Broek rounded out the 19th place. A couple of the cars coming across the line and we're all pretty much done here.
That boosted motorsports car is beautiful, by the way.
It is indeed. We have got some very pretty liveries, and I'm pretty sure that's something that we can talk about in the second race. But first of all, let's take you down for your finishing positions for race number 1. Kenny Roosen, quiet day for him. A total of 22 laps completed in 30 minutes and 17 seconds. Second place is going to go to Hugo Preto, and Follow Me Esports is going to round out the podium in the form of Carlos Dieguez. Uzi DePau in 4th position, Amory Bonduel in 5th, Ivan Marion in 6th. Damien McPhee, comeback drive for him from the back of the field, going to finish in 7th position. Ricardo Ferreira in 8th, Ross Rizzo in 9th, and David Noworoski going to round out your top 10.
Yep, Adam Briggs then 11th with Anthony Winkelmann in 12th after that major incident down at the second chicane. 13th with John McDonald with Leonardo Marquez. He's going to be on the pole position then for race number 2 in 14th. Reece Cole in 15th, just outside of that reverse grid spot. Wayne Burke in 16th with Guy Leach. Paul Mansell, David Van Broek and Jacopo Sigoli in 20th place, Will.
Yeah, P number 21, Clint Shane Smith. 22nd, Justin Nowak, we saw him in incidents earlier on. Frederick Bull in 23rd place. I think fuel for him. He's the last person on the lead lap with Luca Piovanti in P number 24 and John Roberts in P number 25. All the other drivers are classified as unclassified in this event, but it wore the 4 laps down. Then you got the rest of the retirees cycling through on your screen right now, Jack.
Indeed so, and we will be going to get some interviews. Looks as though Kenny Roosen hasn't quite joined us, and Paul, I believe you're stood by with Hugo Preto.
Yeah, certainly am. Hugo Preto then 2nd place. He started off in 3rd. You had to work your way through DePaul to make that move down at the hairpin. Just talk us through that one and how difficult it was to make those overtakes today.
Hello everyone. This circuit is not suited to overtake. You have to be very close to the guy in front of you in order to make a move, and you have to hope that the guy in front of you respect your position. Thing that, in my opinion, did not happen when I tried to overtake him.
Well, yeah, we did see the slight contact, but you were able to make the move and you were able to make it stick. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, you didn't quite have the pace to catch up then to Kenny Roosen throughout that race. So, race 1, good result, 2nd place. You must be pleased with that. How do you see yourself going forward for the reverse grid in race 2?
Well, it will be hard because the tires will go away from me pretty soon. I'm guessing, hoping to survive the first few laps and then trying to make a good rhythm in order to get as much positions as I'm allowed to by the other guys.
Well, Hugo, Follow Me Esports. Who gets it done for you?
Sorry?
Who do you want to give a quick mention to for the team?
Well, first place to everyone within our team, because we have practiced together in order to prepare for this. Shout out also to you guys, because I mean this series will become very popular, and that's for sure related to you being able to broadcast this and to the entire organization of the event.
Well, thank you very much, Hugo, and well done on race 1 result. Race 2 coming up shortly, but back to you, Jack.
And well, I am stood by with 3rd place finisher Hugo Preto's teammate from Follow Me Esports, Carlos Dieguez, in the 999 machine. And Carlos, obviously you had to make your way through the pack. Overtaking can't have been easy, and obviously a few incidents out there as well. Turn number 1, how did you see it from your position?
Hi everyone. I got lucky, not get caught on the middle of it. Then on turn 3, One guy hit me on the rear, I almost lost it, but after that it was quite smooth. I only had my teammates and Ulysse, I think, ahead, and Kenny was racing alone at that time. And the other thing that I got during the race was the fight between Hugo and Ulysse. They touched on maybe on the final sector, and I could get ahead of Ulysse, and well, that was the race for me. But other than that, the confusion on turn 1 and that touch, nothing else to add. It was good, at least for me.
Well, race 2 is going to be happening in not too long, but of course, the conditions are going to be slightly different. Afternoon weather, the track is going to be hotter. Just take the viewer at home how different the car handles in hotter weather.
I haven't tested it, so I don't know. Hopefully, we'll get the Audi will get a little bit of advantage points because of the braking. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
And well, before we let you go and get ready for race number 2, who would you like to give a shout out to today?
To my other teammates that didn't got so ahead. So please, next race do better. Just that. Thank you.
That is Carlos Dieguez, the third place finisher today for race number 1, and Paul, you are stood by with Kenny Roosens.
Yeah, certainly am. And, well, started the race in 4th place, ended up in 1st. Just talk us through that, because there was all sorts of shenanigans happen at turn number 1, and that just helped you move forward to the front of the field there, Kenny.
Yeah, I had a very good timing for the start. I was on Jean's side and I just stay on my line, and when I exit the first corner I saw Damian and John was at a spin, and yeah, I had a big gap after the start, and I just managed to keep the gap and pull away to Ulysse, and yeah.
And we saw how you and your teammate were sticking pretty close together, but then you were able to just pull away and able to get that gap out the front. Just how difficult was it was it just a case of just hitting your marks and keeping in a rhythm around this track?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty hard because it's pretty hard to be constant on this track, especially on the first chicane with the Mercedes. But I think I did just less mistake than Ulysse, and he had a bit of damage as well from the start, so I just managed to pull away, and my pace was a bit better than him, and yeah, I was a bit constant and away from him. And
well, race 2, we're going to see you starting in 14th place. What's your hopes for race 2?
If I my objective is gonna to don't crash and just bring some good point. If I can finish in the top 6, this could be very good for me, but we will see how it's going, and yeah.
Well, you're the race winner. Who helps you get the victory today?
Everyone for the team, Amaury, Evan, Ulysse, especially from the setup, and yeah, they helped me a lot for the setup, and I would like to thank them for the great work again.
Well, congratulations, Kenny, on the race 1 win, and all the best for race number 2. Back to you, Jack, then.
Jack seems to have disappeared.
Yeah, Jack seems to have disappeared. Well, what we'll do is we'll carry on talking here. Well, it was an exciting first race there. Plenty of incidents going on in that first one. But second race, it's reverse grid, top 14 reverse grid. What will that entail for this one?
I've done a number of reverse grid races in my time, both as a driver and also as a commentator. And I'll tell you one thing, the first lap is all about survival. There'll be some drivers that will try to basically push as hard as they can on that first lap and potentially put themselves out of the race. There'll be other drivers who will try and take it cautious and become victims of other people. It's all about trying to anticipate, Paul, what you've got going on behind you, what's happening out front, and basically trying to find a safe lane, as I call it.
Yeah, certainly. You've got to get yourself a good position on track. But, well, what we'll do is we'll step aside for just a few moments, because race 2 will be coming up very shortly here on RaceSpotTV with the International GT3 Championship. Make sure you don't miss this one, because it's going to be an absolute blinder as this one. So hang around.
actually, really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have, great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
the front lines, developing three-wide action on a turn 2. Craig Kinzer, Casey Kane, and Kieran Pittman going at it.
I think the differences between, NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the car. With iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's, enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
Half an hour down and half an hour to go at Zolder for the International GT3 Championship. Kenny Roosen was your race winner in race number 1, but he's going to be starting in position number 14 for race number 2. And well, it has been exciting. We expect to see the same amount of action. The quicker drivers making their way through the field. Jack Stiles alongside Paul Smith and Will Vincent with Hugo Luis on the cameras for you today. And well, Paul, hopefully race 2, slightly warmer conditions as well, 36-degree track temperature. That's going to highly affect how these cars handle.
Yeah, I mean, the air temperature is only 19 degrees, but it's a completely clear sky. So 36 degrees track temperature. These tyres are... they're going to feel worse than that first race, but on a GT3 car with tyres that are meant to last about, an hour, maybe 2 hours in some cases, it shouldn't be too bad in terms of wear, but in terms of the actual tyre temperature, that's going to be the issue that people have around here. And certainly, it's going to be a tricky one, another half-hour race, reverse grid for the top 14. I'm looking forward to this.
And well, obviously, International GT3 isn't the only action left on RaceSpotTV this week. What else have we got for everyone at home?
Hugo, play that WCS music. He's not going to do it. He might do it. Hugo, play that WCS music. Twice now. Okay, we've got ourselves the next round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. That will be taking place from Silverstone a little bit later on today. Well, the Commander streak has finally been broken, and it was Martin Kroenke who remains undefeated at Watkins Glen International. But this is a track where a couple of years ago the phrase, oh my word indeed, came to be a part of iRacing folklore, when Martin Kroenke overtook Gregor Hutu with just a couple of corners to go. Of course, yeah, Hutu repaid the favour at Watkins Glen, but who knows what will happen at the first ever track to host a Formula 1 World Grand Prix. That'll be here, live on RaceSpotTV, a part of your Le Mans weekend, Jack.
And of course, that is not only after Le Mans 24 Hours has concluded on Sunday evening. Myself and Will will be heading to Detroit, to Belle Isle for the 7th round of the Classic IndyCar Series and our first broadcast from the island. And well, I can very much say that I'm looking forward to it. And for a tight and twisty track, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Yeah, indeed. So I didn't miss the back end of that because I had to turn my TV back on because, power saving in 2018 basically means if you don't change a button on your TV for 4 hours, it turns off. That's great if you're doing a 24-hour broadcast. But yeah, we've also going to have a really cool VR onboard headset perspective during that race as well. So stay tuned for that one, Jack.
That will be extremely exciting. And well, the cars are forming up on the grid. We will have one rolling lap behind the iRacing Rough Pace car. But let's take you through your starting grid for race number 2. Danny Davison is going to be on pole. He finished 14th in race number 1. Anthony Winkleman is going to be alongside him on row number 1. Amory Bonduel and Luis Palagallon are going to be starting on row number 2. Carlos Dieguez, Ricardo Ferreira, row number 3, and Brad Hodgson and David Orlovsky in row number 4. Ursa DePau and Eva Marion are going to round out your top 10.
Yeah, certainly are. Kenny Roos in 11th, Hugo Preto in 12th, John Pisnick in 13th with Damien McPhee 14th, Clint Smith in 15th with Ross Rizzo in 16th, Adam Briggs 17th with Jordan McDonald 18th, Reese Cole 19th, and Philip Worley rounding out your top 20, Will.
In P number 21 is Wayne Bork. 22nd, Lawrence Rick. 23rd is Joshua Skim. 24th, Leonardo Marquez. 25th place in this race today will be Yao Oliveira. David Van Broek alongside him, row number 13. Luca Foravante, row number 14, along with Cedric Fulham. And then row 15, Jack Power, Sigoli, and Guy Leach.
In 31st position is going to be Paul Mansell. Josh Nowak is going to start 32nd. And John Roberts in the boosted Ferrari is going to be rounding out your 33 car field. Well, we saw the incident at turn 1 in race number 1. Hopefully we won't see the same thing in race number 2, but having these faster drivers make their way up the field is going to make for very exciting racing.
First lap of this event is basically hold on to your seats because anything can happen. It's as simple as that.
And Paul, I want you to put your bets on race number 2, race winner. Who are you going to call it?
Ricardo Ferreira. I think he'll manage to work his way through, and starting in 6th, that's a good spot to be in that reverse grid pole draw, especially with how this track has been for overtaking. I want to make a point, by the way, that Will made about that boosted livery. Don't give too much props to Andrew Whitehead because he'll get an even bigger ego.
And Will, very quickly before the green flag drops, final predictions.
Final predictions, Messi lap number 1 settles down. Someone inside the top 5 is going to win here today.
Well, you heard it here from Will Vincent, and we will hold him to it at the end of this race, whether he is correct or not. The iRacing rough pace car is still on the circuit, heading down towards the final chicane, and then the field will be under the control of Danny Davison. Obviously, he has to wait for the green flag. Do not count out the car in 4th position. Luis Palagallon, race winner in round number 1 of rough iRacing pace car, pulls off to the right, and we will be going racing as soon as the green flag drops. Going to be sticking to a speed very similar to what they did in race number 1. Green flag drops, and look at that. Contact already between Ricardo Ferreira and Luis Palagallon.
Oh.
I think there's going to be an even bigger incident come off. There is a car on his roof. That is David Norskowski, the number 86 Crichton Audi. Big incident at turn number 1. I'm losing it already. Ricardo Ferreira has been spun around. Not sure who's got out of that in 1st position.
Yeah, let's do a rerun. Let's restart, guys. That was absolutely messy. Was that start? Carlos Dieguez, though, is the man who's ended up at the front of the field after all of that shenanigans going on. Look at that. Elis DePaul in 2nd place. So he's moved up through the field here. Still people having issues. Anthony Winkleman is busy reversing his car. In fact, he's taken a tour.
Oh, we've got contact as well between Jordan McDonald, Damien McPhee. Damien McPhee then goes into the back of another car ahead of him. Not sure who that was. One of the BMWs by the looks of it. I think it was Jordan McDonald that went into the back of Damien McPhee. Ross Rizzo was the BMW, the 784 that got spun around at the first chicane. He is going again, but more damage on that BMW. Sorry, Paul.
No, it's fine. I was pretty much finished what I was saying, but yeah. Will was right when he said it was going to be a messy start to this one. The 33 car's slow running through. That's Derek. He's dropping down the order here, but definitely there's a lot of damaged cars here at the on this track here, and certainly my pick is dropped right back down to 25th Ferreira, so I don't think he's going to be winning it now.
Let me break it down for you. It was the number 13 machine that started off by running into the rear of the number 21 car. So that's Ricardo Ferreira running into the rear of Luis Palagallon as they just about crossed the start or finish line. Now, it's worth noting that there may be a couple of penalties because people overtook before the start finish line. But then you have the treble 9 machine. He basically gets bombed, and then you've got a car going upside down. We had a secondary incident, number 21 machine falls into the wall, and then you had another 4 cars having incidents into that first corner, Jack.
And well, let's quickly take you through your top 8 after that shenanigans of turn number 1. And in fact, it hasn't even stopped. Carlos Dieguez managed to get away from all of that in the lead. Usiu DePauw is going to be in 2nd. Brad Watson in 3rd. John Piesnik in 4th. Evan Marion in 5th. Danny Davison is 6th. He was your pole sitter. Damien McPhee in 7th. Jordan McDonnell in 8th. So that is going to be your top 8 as it stands. Paul Mansell dropping down the positions as well. He has had an incident in the first chicane with, it looks like, Lawrence de Rijk. And in fact, actually, Paul Mansell just lost it on his own, and de Rijk was an unlucky involvement in that one.
Paul's had an incident as well there. He's still got a slowdown penalty where we've got a car turned around, a car stopped on track. That is that.
Oh, what was that?
This is huge, Paul.
What was that rejoin from Damien McPhee driving into the side of a car at the hairpin? We've still been looking at the replay at the start, but we're going to have a look at this one with McPhee down at the hairpin. Because that, I'm sorry, okay, you've had an instant, you've gone off. You don't just drive back onto the track when there's cars coming round into the side of somebody.
I feel bad for Hugo Luis right now. I do a lot of camera work, and he's going to have a lot of replay to do. And it all started off with DePauw in that 3-3-1 car down into the 2nd chicane. Now you see he slows down offline actually into turn number 8. A lot of guys go past him, but as a consequence of that, we have one of the BMW that's just going around. Actually, that's an Audi running into a rear of one of the BMWs, and it all kicks off from then. Well, I talked about pandemonium, Jack. We've had pandemonium the first couple of laps.
Can someone send Pure Racing Team some new bits for an Audi R8? Because Damien McPhee surely needs it in that 722. But yeah, I definitely say that rejoin shouldn't have been on. I believe it was Reese Gookhill who he collected. I'm not sure, but it was a hard hit into the side of that BMW, Paul. Damien McPhee has got quite a lot of damage on that car. And in the first 2 laps, he's already got himself caught up in as many incidents.
Do you know what? I want to talk about the positives as Lawrence de Rijk has taken a tour back to the pits. Speaking of positives, I'm trying to be positive now. Look at this battle for 11th place. You've got a queue of cars here. I'm going to dive down to the inside. That's McDonnell, I believe, on Clint Shane Smith. Oh, McDonnell's gone off into the barriers. Oh, we've got almost hooked. I tried to be positive there, but yeah, a little bit of contact and off they go.
Well, that actually started. There was 2 different incidents there.
Yeah.
You had the one with Clinton and Shane Smith. That was all by himself. And this is on the exit of turn number 8. This seems to be the dummy corner here in these hot track conditions. They make contact, and they both end up having their own separate incidents. One going upside down, one going into the right-hand side hard concrete barrier, and another car there, Jack, just ending up being spun around as a consequence.
Yeah, Jordan McDonnell just trying to repeat his incidents at turn number 1 at Phillip Island. By the looks of it, he's not having a good day. I would say it was a bit of a late lunge to the inside into that corner, Will. And it's just, okay, you could have done a little bit more to avoid him, but it was very close. Carlos Dieguez continuing to lead this race after just on the 4th lap now. He's got a 2.5 second advantage already, Paul, but there is a battle for 3rd going on. John Piesnik currently heading up that train.
Yeah, absolutely. Piesnik in the McLaren here, running through towards the end of the lap, in towards the hairpin here. He's charging down that Monster Energy car. Other energy drinks are available, ladies and gentlemen. But Brad Watson doing a good job at the moment in that 2nd place in the 88 car. He did start in 7th, and we've seen how this field has been all mixed up because of various incidents and shenanigans, but I'll tell you what, these guys at the front now they've got their heads down a bit here, and there's a little bit of gap in between them. They're able to just get on with the racing here, and John Piesnik, he's, last lap was 4/10 faster, so he's gaining on Brad Watson here.
Two things worth noting here, Jack. First one is we saw Gary Leacham have himself an incident, and that is down in the first chicane. Now, a lot of these incidents, I believe, are down to the fact that guys in these hot conditions are just not able to slow their cars down in time and are having to then run on those anti-cut curbs. Second one, we've got 10 drivers out of this event already.
We have indeed, and that is a lot of drivers to be out. We haven't even got to the 5th lap yet. I think we had about 10 or 11 retirements from race number 1. We've almost matched that in race number 2. We haven't even got to the 10-minute mark. Still 16 laps remaining for your leader after this one for Carlos Dieguez. He is still out in front. John Piesnik, though, the gap between himself and Brad Watson is coming down by the 2nd, Paul, and he is now within around half a second.
Yeah, he is, and he's starting to put that pressure on. Ross Rizzo's made a move on David Van Broek for 12th, so he's moved up a position there, down towards that second chicane, but it's that battle still at the front that we're focusing on. It's a battle of the marks, Audi versus McLaren here into that final chicane. It's got the Mercedes behind of Marion as well, so Marion is keeping on to the back of these two, battling out for second. He can sniff a podium here, and Dominic Davison, the man who's on pole position, he's just hanging around. He's hoping that there's going to be some more shenanigans go on and to pick up some good points and good podium positions.
Fastest lap of the race so far is your leader at 1 minute 27.451, but he has got clean air ahead of him and he hasn't been involved in the battle for 12th position going on as well. Ross Rizzo, David Van Broek and Jacopo Segoli in the number 41 BMW. Segoli is looking like he's trying to challenge that 07 boosted Mercedes of Van Broek, while Ross Rizzo is a little bit off into the distance on my screen, so that battle is not going to be happening as well. We have a battle for 6th between Wayne Borg, Kenny Roosen and Usi DePau. DePau and Roosen, the two SRT teammates, and they're going to be wanting to make their way up the field.
Yeah, let's talk about that one for a moment then. It's Wayne Borg in P number 6. 1.1 right now over Kenny Rosen. P number 8 is the number 331 machine that we talked about earlier, DePaul, who's involved in that lap number 1 incident. One thing we haven't yet talked about, though, Paul, is the fact that that 999 machine was involved in that first lap incident, and somehow he's pulling away by 2.3 seconds over Brad Watson. This was a driver who could have been easily out of the event had he had been 2 inches to the left.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's not got away completely scot-free with it. There is a slight bit of damage to the front left, but I tell you what, he's got away with it. He's got away with murder here. He's 2.5 seconds ahead, and right now, if I'm him, I'm just managing that gap. I don't push too hard. Keep a bit of life in your tyres here. Keep the temperatures down in those tyres. As we were saying, that's what's going to be affecting these drivers the most around here today in this second race. Of course, 30-minute race. Tyre wear shouldn't be the issue, but it's the tyre temperatures, as I said, that will be the issue. As actually the leader ran wide at that second right-hander there, heading towards the first chicane. All 4 wheels off the track, but was able to keep that 2.5 second lead there.
Indeed he was. So Carlos Diego still at the front of your field. Evan Marion has dropped off the back of John Piesnik now. The SRT driver just settling down into 4th position. Going to wait for an incident to happen ahead if those two do come together, because we have seen it while those drivers have been trying to overtake each other. Damien McPhee has moved his way past Philip Worley just a couple of laps ago. He's up into position 9. He has now joined the train from position number 5. Philip Worley has been left a little bit further behind, just not being able to keep up with the pace. Battle for 13th position still going on, and in fact actually Ricardo Ferreira now going to be getting involved. The Follow Me Esports driver who caused that incident on lap number 1 at the start, currently running down in 15th position, trying to going to be looking to get his way past Segoli and Van Broek. As in fact actually Van Broek and Segoli have a little bit of contact. No secondary effects of that one there, Paul, but very close to disaster.
God blimey, look at the state of Ferreira's car. You could tell that he got involved in that lap 1 incident and heading towards that chicane. The man in front, Segoli, went a little bit wide through the first part of that chicane. It allows Ferreira to try and get the run out the corner, but you can see how much it's impacted. Look at Segoli's car. It's pretty much clean, it's pretty much straight. Compared to that Audi, you can see how much bend there is on that rear wing. That shows you the damage that he's carrying. That's going to be causing additional aerodynamic drag, which means it'll be slower on the straights there for Ferreras. He's going to have to do this on bravery and the corners, and that's what Ferreira's trying to do right now around the outside, heading towards that first chicane. He's on the inside line for the next one, but you know what? He's got that job done.
He has. A nice pass there for Ricardo Ferreira, moving himself up to 14th position. He has got David Van Broek ahead. He has been able to gap those two drivers while they were having that little bit of a scrap. And that number 07 boosted Mercedes is just going to be running around nice and cleanly. Battle for 2nd position. John Piesnik is slightly closer again. The gap now 0.4 of a second roughly, and it looks as though actually for battle for 5th position now, Danny Davison, Wayne Borg looking down to the inside on the final chicane. He's alongside later on the brakes. The BMW, you can go later on the brakes, going to move himself up. Danny Davison just had to concede the position. Kenny Roosen now going to try and take advantage of that one. He's just taken the draft of Wayne Borg and trying to get himself up in 6th position.
Certainly is. Down the inside. Nicely done from Rusen. Race 1 winner. He's got his set sights on a podium here if he's pretty sharp on it. Look at that. De Paul straight down the inside at turn 2. No messing about from him. He wants to get the moves. McPhee's trying to follow him through as well. So Danny McPhee, a little bit of rubbing there between him and Davison. Able to carry on though, but down towards the chicane now for another time. This is the lap 9 of this race. And Rusen just thinking about it. Made a little move. Didn't make the overtake though. He's going to stay behind for the time being, but he's putting the pressure on here on Winberg.
Well, Will, we have been saying all broadcasts long that passing at Zolder is very difficult, and well, I think Wayne Bork has just gone, hold my beer. He's up 16 positions on where he started, currently running in 5th, and he is now chasing down that driver of Evan Marion. He's 5 seconds up the road though.
That's one of those things about the reverse grids. It really does show who are the best drivers and who are the best racers. For Bork, I think he's done a fantastic job here. He's now P number 5. It's 5 seconds to driver of Marion ahead of him for P number 4. But Kenny Rosen is staying behind. This is going to be a positive and a negative for Bork. But as you see, on the exit of the final corner, towards the start-finish line, towards turn number 1, we see that Rosen does get close behind again. Not quite close enough, though, to go down to the inside. But a lot of these drivers recognize that this track is hard to overtake, so you got to do them one at a time. Down to the inside there, Jack. That will be the driver of Kenny Rosen. It looks like that he might actually have this one out of Lucian corner.
Indeed, he does, and it just looks as though Kenny Rosen, nice move down to the inside, late lunge, and well, you don't see that very often. I think Wayne Bork just got left out hung to dry there.
I was going to mention the battle that's just behind these two, and that's McPhee. He was thinking about it. Oh, look at them jumping. It's like going over the fences at the Grand National there, over the second part of that first chicane, with how big that curb is. But McPhee is putting all sorts of pressure on De Paul here for 7th place at the moment. And really, he's not been able to make the moves. He did make a little half lunge into turn number 3, but decided to back out of it and not make the move. But McPhee certainly is looking busy here in that 8th place. He wants by, and he wants by now.
He does. He wants to get himself up some more positions to try and hold on to that championship lead. Reese Gukill, his championship competitor, actually, I don't think is in this race. So Damien McPhee has basically got some 3 points there. Yeah, he retired. So he's already out of this event. So Damien McPhee's got a nice advantage over the person in second. Luis Paulo Gallen, though, hasn't been able to finish either of the races. So he is going to plummet in the championship.
Certainly is. Really good. Now that everybody's settled down, now that everybody's got a bit of running here to see how they're able to run and able to fight. Everybody's calmed down, got used to the how the track feels in terms of grip. And out that corner, heading towards the chicane. Here comes McPhee. He's looking to the outside. If he can hold it there, maybe break a little bit earlier. Try and set him up for the exit here. Oh, McPhee having to brake, though, in the middle of that chicane. And Will, it's so difficult to be able to have to react to the car in front, who's maybe that little bit slower through that chicane than yourself.
Yeah, it is. And that's one of the things about this track as well, because it is so stop-starts here. Philip Worley, by the way, is down to the inside, or trying to go down to the inside. Oh, Cedric Bollian was not able to make that work. But the thing is, I mean, that second chicane in particular, Paul, is really single file all the way through it. So you can't go two-way through there in any turbo car. Yeah, maybe in a Skippy, if you're lucky. When a GT3 car, you end up banging wheels, banging off bits of bodywork, making your sponsors unhappy because they can't see it on the car anymore. But the chicanes here, it's like Monza, but at slower speed, I always say, Zolder. And it doesn't get a lot of rep because it's the second track in Belgium compared to Spa. Where I would say, though, is that I'd argue it's as technical as Spa is, it's in a very different way.
I have thoughts about this track. I personally don't like it.
Front-wheel drive cars, and they're horrible around here. If in a normal car, not a Kia, then you're probably going to be okay.
Well, it'd be the fact that I keep on rolling at that first chicane. McPhee, look at McPhee. He's putting the pressure on here, though. down towards the chicane once again, and again he's going to get caught out by DePaul. Bit slower on the second apex there, Jack.
McPhee just looks like he's running a little bit too close, and in fact he's got loose onto the inside wall going over the hill, and I think that is something that I was going to mention at some point. Those cars will get lighter as they go over that crest, and actually I don't know whether there was a little bit of contact between those two drivers, and looks as though Damien McPhee, that car must have steering damage or suspension damage on it, Will, because that was a hard hit into a hard concrete.
Yeah, I'm having a look at the replay of that one. It wasn't DePaul I was worried about, it was McPhee behind me more than that, because that was a huge incident there. You're coming onto power in towards that corner, and DePaul, I mean, he's okay really, but the driver that we really need to pay attention to is the one that's just lost an absolute ton of time. I believe that might be, I can't actually get the graphic up right now, the number 13 machine, not the number 13 machine, but you know what I mean, because that was a horrific accident there, straight into the concrete barrier, and Jack, that is race ending.
That is definitely race ending, but not for Damien McPhee. He has carried on, but that car has got even more damage on it now, Paul, and that can't be doing any good for his aeros.
Oh,
he
he's
gets
off.
very loose.
He's parking it. He's parking it.
He's got to park that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at that replay again, actually. That was, I mean, I said earlier on, Paul, front impact, rear impact you can deal with. Not side impact on these cars.
Yeah, it upsets the geometry of the suspension, the steering, everything else. You end up breaking a wishbone or a toe link or something like that, and before you know it, you're pointed the wrong way in a gravel trap somewhere in deepest, darkest Belgium. And well, he decided, you know what? He tried to carry on with it, and well, it didn't quite work, and he's had to end up parking it. But that means that DePaul can look in front now and try and get back onto the back of that battle with Roos and Wayne Burke, because all that battling he did with McPhee there dropped them back a little bit in that one.
I tell you what, you talk about deepest, darkest Belgium, and in my opinion, the most hard part of Belgium to navigate is not on a racetrack. It's not a Rouge riding on. It's not anywhere here at Zolder. It's actually just as you come across the Netherlands into Belgium border, as we see again the car coming off track. Bet it's going to be game over. Yeah, but it's actually just as you come into Belgium from the Netherlands, there's this roundabout, I'm going to call it here, Paul. I don't know if you did it, but it's a roundabout that is absolutely impossible to navigate. It puts the magic roundabout in Hempstead, UK to shame.
I went through France, so I wouldn't know.
Okay.
We came in through France into Belgium. Yeah, saying that, the part of Belgium we came through, there were some confusing road signs, but
yeah,
we got lost a couple of times, but that's what happens there. But yeah, these guys, they've calmed down finally, Jack, haven't they? They're racing now.
They have indeed. We've still got a battle for second position. Brad Watson has been able to hold off John Piesnik. John Piesnik is a driver who, for many, many years, was a Ford GT3 specialist, and he's switched over to the McLaren for this series, probably realising that the Ford is acting like a pogo stick at the moment. There is also a battle for 9th position at the moment. Cedric Boll and Philip Worley and Ross Rizzo all involved in that one. Danny Davison, though, isn't far up the road, so he could get involved in that one. There is also a battle for position number 13 still going on between David Van Broek and Jacopo Sigoli in the number 41 BMW. Then battle for 15, Luca Villaferrati. These guys actually aren't too far behind. In fact, actually, Villaferrati goes deep into the chicane. Josh Nowak in the 73 BMW Art Car, as I'm going to call it now, almost having a look down the inside of the SRT driver, but not going to make the move work. Paul Mansell, Guy Leach, that is going to be happening for 19th position as well, the two teammates.
Yep, they certainly are. They've been having fun all evening of Mansell and Leach. All evening, all morning. You can tell I'm used to doing a later broadcast, as Rizzo and Worley are still fighting it out for that 10th place, swapping positions. But yeah, it's those two teammates, Mansell and Leach. They're just having a bit of fun back there. They're not really involved with anybody else, so why not have a bit of a battle between your two teammates?
And that's what it's all about, surely, Will. It's just having a little bit of fun and having a laugh with some mates.
That's often the thing. I mean, a lot of these people, let's not forget, this is not a World Championship Series race. It's not paying out tens of thousands of dollars to drivers. It is people having fun in sim racing. Go ahead, Paul.
Van Broek has had a spin down at the first chicane. In fact, it wasn't the spin. He basically back-end over the curb, second curb, bounces over, half spin, off into the grass, able to carry on though, managed to keep it out the wall. So it's so easy to make your car hop like that with those curbs at that first chicane.
Yeah, but in terms of teammates, again, you know, you like having fun with your teammates. We see that in Classic IndyCar Series, Jack. There's about 4 or 5 big teams, and they don't just sit behind each other, they race each other. And that's the thing about hosted racing on iRacing. It costs $1 to basically put a session up, do whatever you want to do. Don't be a part of the general iRacing series. You get to do whatever you want to do, and from there on in, race with your friend, race with the people that you like, and exclude if you want to the people you don't like.
And don't forget, if you do host a session, you can even have a demolition derby. I've done one before, and it is absolutely hilarious.
Max Bants.
Yes, all the Max Bants, where the winner is 10th position. We'll ask Jake Sperry how that one works.
I'd rather not.
iRacing, you've got limitless. It's just endless possibilities with what you can do. You've got so many cars, so many tracks, and we see so many series as well. With just the weird combinations that people come up with sometimes, just for a bit of fun.
I've done Kia driving round an oval. No. I've done Kia races round an oval. No, around Motegi and Pocono.
Oh, that hard.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Motegi is the only place that I've ever ended up involved in a crash out of turn 4 around the oval there. Ended up getting a pit speeding and unsafe pit entry penalty because I went flying over the pit wall.
No comment.
I won't go where I mean, Paul hosted a Kia endurance race at Silverstone not too long ago. I think there was a moment in that where myself and our very own Connery Maddock almost had an incident on pit lane, and that was pretty interesting. Ross Rizzo, Philip Worley, this battle's still going on. Ross Rizzo down to the inside into turn number 1. Is Philip Worley going to be left out hung to dry? I think he might have been. No, Ross Rizzo cannot get the move done there, Paul. He is going to look down into turn number 2 by the looks of it, but Philip Worley shuts the door so fast.
I will say, by the way, I believe that SelectSpecs.com is going to be my new hated advert for 2018, based upon what British Eurosport are showing. They're not even called British Eurosport anymore. Eurosport 1, as they're now known as. But Rizzo is again right on the rear as they head themselves down into that first chicane. I've seen that advert at least 7 times this morning.
I just looked over and saw what you meant, yes. I'm not even going to comment on it. You've given them free publicity. There are other spec sources available, people.
Don't make Specsavers look good.
But this battle, I'll tell you what, who's getting involved in this battle now for 10th place? Ricardo Ferreira. He's giving it a go here, and he's trying his best. Oh, we've got a car in the wall, or on the grass at least, and more contact in that battle for 10th place. It was Davison who was off track, and now this is going to end in tears, surely heading towards that final chicane, Jack.
We need tissues at this point. Danny Davison ending up behind this group, and it just looks as though Philip Worley, Ricardo Ferreira getting very aggressive in the number 13, following the esports, almost into the back of the 784 of Ross Rizzo. Ross Rizzo must be getting to the point with 4 laps to go. He just needs to lick the stamp and send it. He needs to go down the inside. He's going to try the outside, almost in the pit wall. Philip Worley, in fact, actually going to get loose. He's going to get out in the gravel. Ross Rizzo goes through. Ricardo Ferreira goes through. Danny Davison, I think, is going to be too far behind. In fact, actually, Philip Worley managed to hold off against Ricardo Ferreira. There's contact. Ricardo Ferreira is sent out wide, and Philip Worley just manages to hold the position.
I will say one thing about Danny Davison is that he had to kind of stay in the throttle there, because there is no way he could have actually kept it off the wall, from after hitting the wall, in any other position. So he's created a really nice 3-car battle that goes too wide right now between Ferreira and Worley, but he had nothing else he could have done at all there, Jack.
No, I don't think so. I think for that, it's just a case of we're also coming towards the end of the race, so the tyres are going to be a lot more worn than they were at the start. And then obviously if people are going to be struggling for grip, it is also a hot track. I mentioned this at the start, I'm going to mention it again. Track has heated up to 37 degrees Celsius, and Paul, 37 degrees Celsius in GT3 usually ends up on an ice rink.
Yeah, it usually does. It means you have to brake a little bit earlier. You got to anticipate the lack of grip here, and certainly these guys have been caught out a few times with the lack of grip around this track. And well, Ferreira, he's been very aggressive here. Basically, he'll be a frustrated man after that instant at the start of the race, and he's trying to get as many positions as possible. Look at Kenny Roosen though, he's still under pressure from Wayne Burke. Wayne Burke is not falling back from Roosen here, and do you know what? Wayne Burke, if he's canny about it, he could end up getting a top 5 position here.
He could indeed, and I think if Wayne Burke plays his cards right, gets himself past Kenny Roosen in a sensible place, he's only got 2 more laps after this. Same applies to Ricardo Ferreira. He's still pushing on Philip Worley. Philip Worley, look at that, 2 wheels off the air coming over the chicane. This is your battle for position number 10, and Ricardo Ferreira, he got very close through turn number 3 and 4 that time. Will wasn't able to make the move stick. He's got 2 more attempts through there. He's also got more attempts as Philip Worley. Look at that Mercedes, it looks like a boat now.
Yeah, as we've got ourselves 2 minutes remaining, 2-minute warning time coming on up as the drivers coming into turn number 8 once again. That is Odeberg's Haasfeld box, as on the exit of that now into the Drockenritz corner. And well, Ferreira has been gaining. He's gained 2.2 seconds over the last 3 laps in towards the Jackie X corner, the chicane, for what will be their maybe second to last time here. We'll see how time scoring goes in that. This may well be their last time. So now Ferreira is going to have to run hard as they're coming towards 1, and the lap times are almost identical.
According to my time screens, I think, Paul, you will agree, we have 2 more laps remaining.
Yeah, I've got some of that, what you said there, but yeah, I believe we've got 2 laps remaining here in this one. Carlos Diego's out in front, and yeah, he's certainly kept the pace up here. He did a 1:28.2 on that last lap. He's got a minute left, so I think we will have 1 more lap in this one, Will. And still Ferreira trying his best, and he can't get past that car of Philip Worley. He's doing everything he can. Will is going defensive early down towards that second chicane here, but I tell you what, these two, they're not going to give this one up, are they, Will?
I'll tell you one thing, if we were in a touring car right now, you and I would be thinking the same thing. Bump him into a corner. But that ain't touring car racing. This is GT racing we're doing right now. Ferreira, he might have a slight chance here into 8. He goes down to the inside. He tries. He looks. He does have the position. Ferreira up into P number 10.
Left Philip Worley out to dry on the outside of turn number 8, and Ricardo Ferreira up into position number 10. He's got it done just when you need to. He's going to cross the line, and he's going to collect the white flag this time, but don't count out Philip Worley for that 10th position. He wants it back. He already had a look down into the final chicane as they cross the line for the final time. Carlos Diego still has the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 27.451 as he comes into the first chicane for the final time. Well, Paul, we haven't really talked much about him so far in this race. He's had a quiet one, really.
Well, apart from getting a little glancing blow at turn number 1, but yeah, he's been able to get out front and just control that lead. 3 seconds is the lead between him and second place Brad Watson. Brad Watson, another one we're not really talked about. He's done a good job to keep ahead of John Pisnick, and well, actually pulled away from him, but Diego's now heading in towards the end of the lap here.
He is rounding the hairpin of turn number 8 for the final time, heading down into the Jackie Xbox, the final chicane, and all that is separating him from where he is at the moment and race to victory. So nice and steady through there. He's going to win it by around 3 seconds over Brad Watson. Carlos Diego survived turn number 1 and wins race number 2 at Zolder in the 999. Follow Me Esports taking race number 2. Brad Watson is going to come home in second, and John Pisnick is going to round out your podium in the lone McLaren in this series. And well, Will, lots of action in that second race.
There was. We had a very close one up the line as well between Bork and Rosen. Bork wasn't able to get P number 5, but he tried his absolute hardest. Ricardo Ferreira and Davison as well. They were going at it towards the final chicane. Looks like Davison is going to win that battle over Ferreira.
Ferreira's out of fuel.
He is. So that's the reason why he was losing positions. Davison's got past, but Ferreira only loses 1 or 2 at the end. As behind, they were very close as well. Well, P13, 317 there, Jack.
Yeah, that was always a battle that I think was always going on, and Jacopo Segoli managed to hold off Luca Fiorati in the SRT Mercedes for position number 13, but it was very close. And something which we see in GT racing quite a lot, Paul, is the speed off the corner that Mercedes has.
Yeah, the pull that it has out there, the grunt that gets out that corner is certainly really impressive, and it shows when you get them side by side with others.
And of course, as everyone has now finished race number 2 from Zolder, we will head down to your final finishing positions. Carlos Dieguez wins race number 2 in a time of 30 minutes and 58 seconds. Quite out the front for him. And second step of the podium is going to go to Brad Watson. And rounding out the podium is John Piesnick. Evan Marion holds on to 4th. Kenny Roosten finishes 5th after his race 1 win. Wayne Burke going to finish 6th. Uzi DePau in 7th. Cedric Bullen in 8th. Ross Rizzo in 9th. And Philip Worley regains 10th as Ricardo Ferreira runs out of fuel.
Certainly does. Danny Davidson started on pole, finished 11th. Ricardo Ferreira 6th to 12th. Segurli in 13th. Fiorante in 14th, with Josh Nutt in 15th. Leonardo Marquez, quiet day for him, but down in 16th place there with David Van Broek. A little spin to finishes in 17th. Adam Briggs 18th. Paul Mansell 19th. Guy Leach rounding out the top 20. Will's got the easiest job of them all.
John Roberts, P number 21. Last driver on the lead lap, Damien McPhee. 1 driver scored, 9 laps down. Everyone else, Shaq, is a retiree.
They are indeed, and those are Amaru Bondwell, Jordan McDonald, Killian Shane Smith, Joshua Skin, Lawrence Dorike, Reese Kukiel, Jar Oliveira, Anthony Wickman, Hugo Preto, Luis Palagallan, and David Novostovsky, who we saw rolling down across the start line to start the race.
Rolling.
Yep, indeed so. And Will, in fact, actually, I believe you are stood by with our winner, Carlos Dieguez.
We are. I've got Carlos Dieguez. I get a race winner out of this. Well, Carlos Dieguez, number 999 machine. Congratulations on your victory here today. It was a little bit touch and go down in towards turn number 1. Talk us through that one.
Hi again. Thank you. I don't know. I got car damage on the green, and when I arrived on turn 1, well, a little bit of prayers from my part and a little bit of faith also, and well, I get through. I don't know how. It was very close. My other teammate Ricardo got spun and whatever it did, but I don't know. It was a miracle. And then I had a lot of car damage for the rest of the race, and was thinking that maybe Brad and John would catch me up if they had clean cars, but they didn't. So I'm happy for that. Thank you.
They seem to close up a little bit in the middle part of the race, but the gap always holds between about 3 and 5 seconds. I mean, how hard was it in the latter stages of this event to keep that car going, knowing the fact that you have got damage and the guys behind you might be cleaner?
I knew that the 3 seconds that I had was for my mistakes only, and I had to do it very cleanly, because I wouldn't recover from lost time, because at least Brad was faster on the straights. It was also almost 1/10 maybe, so I would win 1/10 in one corner and lose it all again on the straight, so I couldn't get away. So I knew if he could catch my draft, it would be very bad. I don't know if I would manage to keep the first place until the end. But in the last 10 minutes, I think Brad and John lowered their pace a little bit. It was a little unexpected. So the last five laps was calmer, at least.
Well, race victory here today. Thoughts about this and the championship as we head out of round number 2? No, nothing.
Sorry. I didn't catch that. Sorry.
Well, you win round number 2 here today. Well, the second race here today. Thoughts about this as we head into the next round of the championship?
I don't know. We'll see. It's a lot of races, so it's too early. I bet on the other races I will have much more competition all the race, so let's see what happens. Keep it open.
Okay, well, that is, ladies and gentlemen, Carlos Dieguez then, and Jack, back to you.
Indeed, so I am stood by with the second place finisher. That is going to be Brad Watson. And Brad, first of all, congratulations on the podium. You were under pressure at the start of the race from John Peasnick, and obviously John is an experienced GT3 driver. Was it just a case of hold your line and hope you didn't find a way past?
Yeah, pretty much, mate. I've raced John quite a bit, and yeah, he's definitely a tough customer, so it was pretty much just try and keep my head together, keep it on the track, and hope for the best.
And of course, looking forward, there are some great... Are you hoping to get sort of similar results in the rest of the season, or was it the case that the reverse grid really helped you today?
Yeah, I'm looking for some strong results. So I qualified P8 in the first one, and I've managed to avoid the first lap incident, and then managed to turn myself around on the final chicane all on my own. So I was fairly strong throughout the race. So yeah, I was just happy to hold it together in the second one after DNF in the first one.
And of course, before we go and let you celebrate your podium with your team, who would you like to give a shout out to?
Just myself, mate, and all the help I get from Mr. Damien McPhee, and just Clint for running the series, and all the other races, mate. You guys are putting on a good series. It's good to see.
And well, then there is your second place finisher, Brad Watson from race number 2 at Zolder. Paul, you're stood along with John Peasnick.
Words.
You finished third. Yes, words. England.
Words, do you even?
Well, John, you finished third in that race, but you started 13th in that one. Just talk us through that crazy start from your perspective. How did you manage to get through all that?
Mate, to be honest, I really don't know. It was a fair bit of luck in that one. And a lot of net codes to go with it, but mate, yeah, it was just sheer luck, and just kept going through it, and everyone sort of just crumbled in front of me, and I think I was P5 by the second turn or something, so I was a little bit shocked, so just kept going with it.
And that's it. We saw you end up in third place, putting the pressure on Brad Watson through most of that race, but then falling behind towards the end. Was that a case of you were happy with third place and didn't want to risk losing it all, or was that a case of maybe tyre wear coming into effect?
It was. I had pace on Brad for probably half of it, but because the pace was still pretty similar, very hard to get a run and make something happen. And towards the end, I was running out of a bit of tyre life, and I think my car was probably a little bit too aggressive for these temperatures. So I did sort of make a few mistakes, and then at the end I just I settled because I knew I wasn't going to catch an overtake, so just brought it home for that one.
And well, we're seeing you change from the BMW to the McLaren. How are you finding that change?
It's a fresher breath air, mate. So I've driven the McLaren for majority of my iRacing career with the Ford. And I was just driving the BMW to help my teammate race out, but unfortunately it doesn't really work for my driving style. So I had to sort of just revert back to what I know and just have fun. So much better.
Well, podium position for Element Motorsport. Anyone you want to give a quick mention to?
I just give a mention to Element. Thanks for being there all the time, and I'm happy to bring it forward for him.
Well, thank you very much, John, and a podium position for you today.
Thanks, buddy.
And of course, final thoughts from you, Paul, and then again, same question to you, Will.
Final thoughts. First race, really intense, really difficult to overtake around this track, and we saw a couple of incidents in that one, but generally on the whole, relatively clean. That second race, I think the organisers will be disappointed with some of the driving out there, but I like to look at the positives in life. Gave people the opportunity to move up through the field. Like I said, John started 13th. You had Wynne started 21st, finished 6th. You had Cedric Bowen 28th to 8th. So looking at the positive side of things, that's given other people the opportunity to get some really good points there. And next time out, they'll certainly be looking forward to better racing at that where are they next time? I can't seem to find it.
Road Atlanta.
Oh, lovely track. I mean, it's not like it's a difficult third turn or anything like that, but to be honest, these drivers will really were hoping to get a better run at Road Atlanta.
I would say one thing. It's not the organisers that should be disappointed. It should be some of the drivers and the teams, because if you're ever going to run a reverse grid race, you know you've got to make it work one pass at a time. Some people are greedy here today, Jack, but those that weren't greedy and worked one at a time, they're the drivers that worked up 20 positions.
They are, and Zolder is always going to be a tough circuit to overtake because it's so tight, so narrow, so stop-start, something which we went through so many times.
Yeah, I'm going to hand over from Jack there very quickly because as you know, he is just having a couple of what we like to call BT XLR internet pork car issues, shall we say, because yeah, the pork car is at Le Mans here today, Paul, but we have still got the World Championship Series coming up here on RaceSpotTV in just about 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'll be watching. I do know what I'll be watching. It'll be Le Mans. I'm sorry, Will. I've got my priorities on this one. Yeah, it's going to be a really good race from Silverstone in the World Championship Grand Prix Series, and certainly how the strategy works out, how the driving works out, and you're always guaranteed a relatively good race around Silverstone.
Well, unfortunately, that is all we have time for today on RaceSpotTV. Streaming live on Live, but first of all, before we head off to enjoy the start of Le Mans and the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, we better give a shout out for everyone who gets it done for us at RaceSpot. Our cameras are provided by Istvan Ballau and 22trackcams.com. I got that wrong. Andreas Werner designs our overlay, and your animations are from ATVO and at engineer.com. And our live timing and scoring is, as always, provided by Nick Thiessen. I have been Jack Stiles, they have been Paul Smith and Will Vincent. Hugo Luis has been behind the cameras, and we will be back in around 2 hours with the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Do not go anywhere. That is not going to be a race you want to miss. Stick around.